I was going to yeah, can you get that jacket off? Oh my God.
Oh, well, it's not buttoning up, that's for sure. Fifth period, fifth period, fifth period, fifth period, fifth period, fifth period, fifth period. Hello everybody and welcome back to Fifth Period, the film podcast hosted by two media teachers, where today we are traveling back to the 60s to talk about one of my all-time favorite films. My name is Mr. Brown and with me as always is...
Peter Joshua.
And is there a Mrs. Joshua?
Yes, but we're divorced.
Nice.
Now, it's Mr. Boylan back in the saddle, and as you said right off the top, Mr. Brown, very excited to be talking about one of your favourite movies of all time.
Oh yeah, got my best duds, if not my
Your
teeniest duds on, because Charade is an absolute classic, probably in my top 5 films.
Oof.
You made the call that if you didn't like it, I probably wouldn't invite you back to film club.
Yep.
A remark I never made, but
You're
the
happy to
longer
stick
I
to it.
went on, after I rewatched it again, I went, nah, I am going to kick him out if he doesn't like it.
And we'll find out by the end of this podcast.
Oh, fingers crossed. Tightly gloved
I was going to say, can you cross fingers in that thing?
It's hard to move. I don't know if this kit's going to last the whole pod, but I graciously offered up the Cary Grant fit for you.
Thank you so much.
Look, to be fair, Audrey Hepburn's my favourite part of this film, so
Probably
it
mine
only
too.
seemed right to put my best Hepburn duds on.
I was about to say it's a role you've slipped into gracefully, but there was nothing graceful and there was no slipping.
There was no
into.
slipping.
It was
I
just
forced
wrenching.
myself into this kit. In addition to talking about Charade for our main discussion today, we will also be doing a bit of an extended Tantalising Trailers segment. So just the one extra segment for today, but if you do want to skip ahead to that segamonte, I will leave time codes in the description below.
Hey guys, it's Dennis, and today we're going to be talking about Charade.
Thank you to Deniz for his intro to the pod today. Now, I reckon it was late last year that we had Deniz on, and I was talking about the fact that I wasn't sure if he was going to end up in my Year 12 class or not, because we got to split Year 12 classes this year. Unfortunately, he has landed on the other side of the fence, but it is so good to see you, mate, every week at Film Club. We had a couple of kids who were talking about plot points and stuff for Charade in Film Club this week, and I was like, oh, this is great, we'll get them in on it, but they're still younger kids and they're a little bit shy.
They're working their way up to it.
Exactly right. So it was good that Deniz stepped in and saved us there, but always good to have an old favourite on, so thank you very much for that, Deniz.
Much appreciated, Dennis.
Alrighty, let us jump into Charade.
Yes.
So, the film starts with the dead body of Charles Lampert, well, so we think, thrown off a train. And we jump straight into a title sequence that we thought may have potentially been a Sal Bass title sequence.
But it wasn't. It was actually a Maurice Binder sequence who had done the title sequences of 16 Bond films. I had a look and I was like, oh, of course. It definitely has a bit of a Bond style about it, and particularly this time period in the 60s. It felt very, very typical of the time in terms of films that were getting released, and particularly kind of the spy kind of nature.
Yes, hearkening to things like Vertigo and stuff,
Yep.
in the bright colours, the black background, all the spiral imagery. Really, really cool. But the best part about it is the theme. This has got to be one of my favourite soundtracks from a film ever. It's just so catchy.
Henry Mancini cooking with gas.
Oh, yes. It's awesome, and I like that it comes back throughout the film too, in some of the chase sequences as well. But it gets you geared up, and especially if you're a big fan, it's such a recognizable theme that as soon as it starts, you're like, I'm ready.
I'm in.
I'm in. And I hope you were in too, man.
I was. Very quickly, I love a good title sequence. And just the really quick firing of what happens on the train and wondering, okay, who's this dead body? What I also like is, a good fake out with the gun.
Oh, yes. So we cut to the French Alps where we meet our protagonist, Regina Lampert.
Reggie.
She is there with her friend Sylvie and Sylvie's son, Jean-Louis.
Who's not annoying at all.
Oh, man. You love his voice there, hey? I found it.
Yeah, that's some great ADR.
Oh, yeah. So we were talking about the fact that we thought maybe he'd been overdubbed for the film because it sounds so unnatural every time he talks.
Hola!
Another link to the Bond films, the set and obviously the setting in the French Alps remind me a lot of On Her Majesty's Secret Service.
Oh, yes. And we get that old school pistol as well. A water pistol, in fact, but as you said, a nice little fake out.
Yes, with the gun sort of coming into the shot.
Yeah, and the menacing music as it does. And what I think is so good about this is it sets the tone for the film very, very quickly. That element of mystery, that spy kind of feel to it, but also a lot of comedy as well and silliness and things not necessarily being what you expect them to be, which is so cool that, yeah, right off the bat, one of the first shots of the film does that. Essentially, she's pretty down about her relationship. She feels like her husband Charles has been lying to her and she's ready to throw in the towel.
Sylvie, I'm getting a divorce.
What? From Charles?
He's the only husband I have.
I'm losing my hat here.
You're losing your mind. You're losing your hat, and I'm reaping all the benefits. And then in comes, well, I'm there too. Me.
There you are.
Cary Grant coming, well, as Peter Joshua, as he introduces himself initially.
Returning a troubled Jean-Louis to Sylvie.
Yes.
It's a really interesting story. The kid who plays Jean-Louis, I think his real name is Thomas. He and Cary Grant had an interesting on-set relationship. Cary Grant hadn't really worked with kids. He didn't have kids at this stage. He very much thought of kids on a film set as alien. And
With that voice.
Yeah, makes sense. But apparently the actor who played him recounts Cary Grant having like very grown-up conversations with him, like just brutal honesty. Like, the worst thing in the world, kid, is when people don't appreciate you. And he's just like, cool, I'm 8. Thanks, man.
Thanks, Cary Grant.
But what's interesting is their relationship did develop over the course of the film, and Cary Grant even said to the kid's mum that he was responsible for changing his mind about having kids himself.
Wow.
And he ended up having his first kid a few years after this film.
That's crazy.
Yeah, wild. If you thought the banter between Sylvie and Reggie was good, it is off the charts here.
You're blocking my view.
Which view would you prefer?
The one you're blocking.
Good little flirty banter, bit of flanter.
Yeah, I think he's like, do we know each other? Why, do you think we're going to? And so, I don't know. How do I know? I already know too many people. Until one of them dies, I couldn't possibly fit someone else in.
I don't think I've ever sort of felt more aligned with a quote in a movie.
Well, fortunately for her, someone has just died, so she can fit someone in.
Well, she doesn't know.
Yeah, but
she will.
She will.
She will, and she will know Peter Joshua.
Are you going to call me?
Are you in the book?
Well, Charles is.
Is there only one Charles Lampert?
Lord, I hope so.
There's more of them, and then immediately cuts away, basically. It's just great. Really, really good to
it
see.
Is really good, and it's just one line after the next. I love when she says, wasn't it Shakespeare that says, when strangers meet in far off location? And she, like, it's this really long quote, and then he's just like, Shakespeare never said that.
You just made
Why
that
not?
up.
That's terrible. You just made it up. Well, it sounded right. So good.
If it sounds good, it must be right.
Well, that's it. But as you say, it cuts away and Reggie's returning back home. And we get a nice little moment here where Jean-Louis calls after her from the taxi. And he said, I know it's hard to imagine any moment with Jean-Louis being a nice moment, but just a good little bit of foreshadowing with him asking if she's going to write him a letter because he wants to keep the stamp. So just a little tidbit. We should mention too, it's been a long time since we've started a pod with a spoiler warning, but because this film is a mystery, it is very important if you want to appreciate it and go back, which I highly recommend doing so. Do not continue this podcast until you have, because it's going to be spoilers aplenty going forward.
Spoiler city.
Speaking of going forward, my hat seems to be slipping off my head. I might have to forego Reggie's hat.
No.
It lasted as long as it could, which wasn't very long at all, but there we go.
Love that.
Love that it's done with.
Hey, as long as you're comfortable, actually no, that's wrong. As long as you're uncomfortable, that's where I'm comfortable.
Nice.
But the hat's been trashed, and so is the apartment. It's been absolutely ransacked. We see like Reggie's trying to work out what's going on, looking for like a housekeeper. But there's no housekeeper there, but an inspector.
Inspector Grand-Pierre.
Grand-Pierre.
He is such an underrated character.
Oh, he's good fun.
He is so funny.
It's good fun.
I love his obsession with the pajama angle throughout the film. Another one in his pajamas. And you were telling me it made you think of Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid.
Senor! Pajamas!
Would you forget about the pajamas?
I'll bring back your pajamas. It's just so good. So good. She's brought in to identify a body and checks the body. It is Charles. Some great camera work here as well.
When the morgue drawer is closing and the camera's just on it, great. Really good.
She has an interview with Inspector Grand-Pierre and realizes basically how little she does actually know about Charles.
Yeah. So he says basically that they found him by the side of the train tracks, that he sold their estate for $250,000 and they were unable to recover the money. So all they were able to find in his train compartment was a little blue bag, little travel bag,
With
and
all of these.
The items that you see in front of him.
Including an Australian passport.
Everyday items, toothbrush, toothpaste, Thanks. An Australian passport. Well, he had many passports. A French one, an American one, an Australian one.
Charlie Lampert is what they called him.
Charles Lampert. Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to work out basically who he is. And
but there's very little to go on. There was a letter to Regina, but it doesn't really seem like they had the closest of relationships. The PS on the letter is reminding her that her dentist called and that her appointment had been changed.
We took the liberty of calling your dentist. We thought perhaps we would learn something.
Did you?
Yes, your appointment has in fact been changed.
It's very, very good. And then so Reggie returns home.
She does, and gets a consolation prize. Oh, Peter Joshua, he's back.
Cast quite ominously in the shadows when he comes in, which I do really like, because this film is going to play a lot around with everyone's not really who they
appear to be.
Exactly. So I really like that. There's some really nice shots in this. I really like Stanley Donen, the director, who did Singing in the Rain, another one of your faves.
Absolutely.
Does some really good stuff behind the camera here. It's great. Cary Grant looking ominous in the doorway.
But he takes on this kind of carer role very quickly. He'd read about Charles's demise in the paper and came to check on her. And then he helps her find a hotel and get herself settled. But then we cut to the funeral and big turnout. Big turnout. I love that the inspector's one of the only people there, and Sylvie's like, at least he knows how to act at a funeral. And then it cuts to a close-up of him just clipping his nails.
Great.
So three figures do eventually turn up to the funeral. So we got Herman, we got Gideon, and we got Tex. And each of them comes in and through a different method tries to confirm Charles's death. So Gideon very exaggerated sneezes in his face. I don't know if he's testing anything or if he really is just heavily allergic to the world.
Maybe.
He's doing big old sneezes through the whole film.
It really does. You get that checked out.
He must have known Charles pretty well.
How can you tell?
He's allergic to him.
Yeah, right. But Tex comes in, puts the little mirror underneath his nose to see if he's breathing. And then Herman comes in and stabs him with the pin.
Very dramatically.
Yeah, and the reaction from Audrey Hepburn, so good. But again, I really like how good this storytelling is to introduce these characters and very quickly establish what kind of people they are. Herman is very brash and violent, and he just kind of jumps in. Tex is more strategic, and you can see that throughout the film as he kind of works things out. Like he solves some puzzles as well. And then you've got Gideon, who's just a bit clumsy and bumbling.
He exists.
Yeah, he does exist for now, but we'll see about that. But then she receives a letter. A messenger turns up and gives her a letter asking her to go into the US Embassy and see old Walter Matthau. So good.
He's great.
I adore him.
Bartholomew.
Bartholomew. He's just got the best voice. Liverwurst, chicken, or liverwurst? She eventually wants a sandwich.
Eventually.
We get there.
We all want a sandwich eventually.
Oh, I know. That's what they always say. I believe it was Shakespeare that said that.
Well,
That's not Shakespeare. How do you know? It's terrible. You just made that up.
Everyone wants a sandwich eventually.
Yeah.
Fair.
Oh, dear.
But yeah, Walter Matthau's great. So he's talking about sort of like ironing out the stain on his tie.
Good dialogue. Like, I love that they're not just like straight to business. He's got a little like banter.
Let me riff.
Yeah, and
Let me riff on this.
something you can appreciate. And we will kind of reveal the plot points as we go through, but something you can appreciate about this scene way more when you've seen it is that things aren't what they seem here. And the way he interacts with the office and the things in the office, like he does that every day, is so good. And I really, really appreciate it on a rewatch. So highly recommend that too.
Good call. And it basically then starts to unpack Charles Lampert was not Charles Lampert, it was Charles Voss. Charles Voss.
And he starts calling her Mrs. Voss afterwards. He's like, well, Lampert's the name on the marriage certificate. Sorry, Mrs. Lampert.
Lambert.
Someone has to do it, Mrs. Lampert.
No, it's Pert.
It's
Pert.
It's Lampert. It's Pert. It's a Perty name.
It is a Perty name for a Perty gal. We love Audrey Hepburn.
We do. I love the twitch in his face when he says Voss. Voss.
Yeah.
It's great. And I love when he starts to sort of like having a chat, and then he's obviously going through sort of the photos of...
It's Charles. Very good, Mrs. Lampert.
And obviously the other three characters were mentioned from the funeral setting.
Yep.
And then gets the photo of the kids as well.
Yeah. Have you seen this? So good.
Well, he hasn't because it, well...
Whoa. No spoilies. No spoilies.
Sorry.
But we get little bits of information about Charles and the three men periodically throughout the film, so we don't get the full story here, but essentially Bartholomew works for the CIA and he's trying to recover some money.
He's a desk jockey.
Yeah, he's trying to recover some money that was stolen from the US government. We don't get the circumstances, but we know that Charles and the other three men from the funeral were somehow involved in that. $250,000, basically the whole estate.
Yes.
And now those three men are coming back looking for the money. So she's got to be very, very careful, but she also must be the one that has it now, because no one else seems to have it. And so he is asking her to kind of go back, look through his belongings.
Steps,
yeah, where could the money be? Because he's convinced she has it. And for her own safety, she needs to find it to give it back so that the three men won't pursue her and possibly harm or kill her.
Correct. So what does she got to do? She's got to have a bit of a check-in with old PJ.
Yeah, and got to go to a puppet show.
Yeah, more PJ, Punch and Judy.
Yeah, nice.
So meets up with Peter. Again, the banter's just back on. It's just like flick a switch, Mr. Brent. I love how about making me vice president in charge of cheering you up?
That's
I'm like,
nice. Come on, that's pretty cute.
Cariz Grant.
Nice. I like the parallels between the Punch and Judy story and the film.
Yep.
I like that she kind of sees herself in the story and then splits away from the metaphor because it doesn't quite fit her scenario. But he was dead, Peter. I saw him. To cheer her up, he takes her out. First for a nice dinner and then a show. But the show.
They go to the Black Sheep Club.
Should have brought an orange. We could have played a round of Pass the Orange.
Maybe not. Wowee. This is a game. It's like sort of a similar game with like playing cards, but like kind of basically got to try to get the orange down.
Put an orange under your chin and then you got to pass it to the next person in the line and you race the other line.
Yes.
And the physical comedy here is awesome.
The
You
look on
were
Kerrigan's
laughing
face,
so much.
Just the
during
look
this.
on the faces is just great.
Yeah, he pulls a couple of funny faces in this one. Doesn't shy away from some physical comedy, Cary Grant.
No, he does not. And then PJ and Reg exchange a bit of a moment when they
do. The way the music kind of fades out is in slow motion
like,
as they're locking
goodness.
eyes. But that's not the only person she shares a moment with. No. Gideon's all up in it.
All up in it because they all the guests from the wedding start to appear and basically make
The
their
wedding?
presence felt. The funeral. 4 weddings and a funeral. All the 3 characters from the funeral start to appear back in Reggie's life after the cash.
So Gideon threatens her, and then Tex corners her in the phone booth and starts
all the
lighting
lights.
the matches.
So weird.
I love it. It's really good. And her like panic. I'm having a mental breakdown. Nervous breakdown. Sorry. You're the expert.
You said it was one of your favourite films. Clearly not.
Yeah. Sorry.
Anyway.
I'm having a nervous
I
breakdown.
think you are. It's the tightness of the jacket.
That's it.
It's cutting off the circulation to your brain, Mr. Brown. Anyway, PJ's like trying to work out, like, what's going on?
I'm not sure I like this shorthand.
Sorry.
Peter Joshua.
And
It's,
Reg.
it's his best identity.
PJ and Reg.
Sounds like a sandwich.
Peter Joshua and
Reggie.
Reggie. He's trying to work out what's going on.
Yeah.
But she's a little bit less inclined to share initially.
Oh, she's too busy flirting with him.
I mean, fair.
Inviting him up to the room, and he's like, nah, if you don't want to tell me what's going on, that's fine, but I'm not coming to your room.
It's just not happening.
Whoa.
Whoa.
And him kind of fighting off her advances, because she's coming on strong. She is keen as mustard.
He's Hepburning it up for him.
She is. A hunker Hepburn in love.
Gotta get that checked out, I think.
Yeah. But he's like, nah, I'm not keen. And I was telling you earlier, this was kind of a bit of a reflection of how Cary Grant felt.
Bit of an age gap.
Yeah, about 25 years between them in this film. And
Pretty normal back then.
yeah, which I think makes it all the better that Cary Grant felt uncomfortable about it. Because this was a fairly normal thing back in the 60s for such a sizable age gap, but he felt a bit uncomfortable by it. But it didn't stop them from having a really good working relationship. And even years after he died, Audrey Hepburn would like recount how joyful it was spending this time with him and how she like really held that time together in high regard. So
awesome.
Yeah, nice that they got along. And you can see that with their like banter and the flirty dynamic. It's really good.
Do you know what's wrong with you?
No, what?
Nothing.
To break up the banter, though, I mean, someone's broken into the apartment. Mm-hmm. It's Herman. The hook.
He's hooked the claw. Don't want to get you.
I was thinking more
you.
the person with like the hook hand in The Fugitive.
Oh yeah. It wasn't me. It was a one-armed man. Another Jim Carrey reference.
Nice one. Peter comes in to save the day, and he breaks up the fight, and then
reminds me of that scene in Johnny English where he's fighting with the chair.
This guy's a maniac. We will do Johnny English on the podcast this year. It will happen.
But Reggie runs back in, and Peter Joshua's been knocked
happened?
down behind the bed.
It's like I've sprained my pride.
And Herman's exited out the window.
How convenient.
Exit pursued by a bear. But it's not a bear. It's pursued by Cary Grant. I think it was Shakespeare that said exit pursued by a bear. Legitimately this time.
What are you saying? You just made that up.
It's terrible.
That's terrible.
It's pretty funny when he's like climbing along the railing. It happened again. Another strange man peered in the window at me and then went away. And the guy's just like, oh yeah, sure it is, as he's climbing along.
Classic.
And we get this like suspense. It's already a little bit suspenseful because he's up so high. You're like, what's going to happen? Where has Herman gotten to? And turns out, big reveal number one, Herman's a couple of doors down with the other two from the funeral. And Cary Grant is in on it. Old Peter Joshua knows him. And he's like, fellas, I thought I was going to deal with this. I thought I was going to charm her into telling me where the money is.
That's what I wrote.
And you're cramping my style.
PJ is a bastard. That's what I've written. They're in cahoots.
Yeah, but Herman couldn't wait. He's got sticky claw.
He should get that checked out. There's a lot of pet characters and they get things checked out of this film.
That's true. But I love when he walks in, he's just like, yes, it was a dumb move, Herman.
So then PJ, he has a bit of a chat with him. He's like, hey, like, let me sort it out. Mm-hmm. Peter Joshua comes back in, and then Herman calls to tell Reggie that Peter Joshua is Dial and wants the money for himself.
Yeah, so not a name that she's familiar with at this point, but just the fact that he's not who he says he is and that he's after the money makes her very, very nervous, especially because he's just revealed too that he's gotten the room next to her under the guise of protecting her from any other unexpected visitors.
Like himself.
Yeah, so she's very nervous. She calls up Bartholomew, explains the whole situation to him and asks if they can meet up. But old Carrie, he's rigged up a little thing with the key. It's a nifty little trick, this one. It's like the little thread from his sock and the key, so that when she leaves, he knows because it falls off the table. But even though he's nifty, she's niftier. She sends an empty cab off, and he goes, follow that cab.
Nuts. And then while that's happening, and got him off the trail.
Women make the best spies.
They do.
Sorry, agents.
Yes, as they're going to keep saying a few different times.
It never gets old.
Bartholomew does meet up with Reggie and basically fills in that Charles stole money which is supposed to go to the French resistance. And then he double-crossed Herman, Leopold and Tex. And then everybody wants the cash.
Yes, but it couldn't be Dial.
Because Dial's dead.
Dial is dead. So explains all about it and the fact that he was killed before they could return to dig up the money. He was killed behind enemy lines. And essentially, then Charles, yes, he like Herman in his claw, got sticky fingers and dug it up first, and it's taken them all this time to track him down.
Yep. It's really good the next day when Reggie's trying to lose Peter Joshua or Dial again.
That's right.
With the guy on the street. Like, she keeps wanting to sit down with him, and then he's, like, interested, and she walks off, but then Cary Grant turns around. She's got to go back again. It's just great. I love this stuff.
It is. Well, she's been put to work. Essentially, Bartholomew said, well, it's not enough for you to find us the money now.
No,
we also want to know, who's this guy calling himself Dial?
I suppose if I'm going to die, I might as well do it for my country.
That's the spirit.
I love that they follow the line about them making the best spies with her being about as conspicuous as she can possibly be. She's got the big headscarf and the glass.
Inconspicuous!
That's what I was thinking. That's exactly what I was thinking. But like following him terribly, and then after it all becomes too hard, just calling him and being like, hey, why aren't you who you said you were?
So good.
Perfect spy.
It's like, okay.
Perfect.
Dial? Yes, it's Dial, and it's like, no, but he's Dial's brother. Trying to prove that the three men, plus Charles, killed his brother, and then he's pretending to work with them.
So that he can uncover the fact that they have done that.
Yes.
Yeah. And so all of a sudden she's like, cool, you've explained yourself now, that's great. She's still a little skepty, but she doesn't get to ask him any more questions because he's no longer on the other end of the line. Herman has taken him at gunpoint and led him up to the roof.
Yes, and he's about to basically get him to step off the roof, but...
when they're going up in the elevator, and he's like, oh, careful, I just didn't want you to hit your head. He's always riffing.
Yeah, but
now he's roofing. No good?
Oh, that's great.
Thanks, man. I love it when you turn it around like that.
Just to keep you in suspense. It's all a charade. Anyway, they battle it out. It looks like he's about to fall to his doom. He's able to get himself back up, and then Herman goes sliding off the roof into the darkness, which looks really cool.
The whole sequence is really good. I couldn't remember if it was if it looked a little cheesier than it does, but it feels like a pretty realistic fight because of the clumsiness of it. Like two guys scuffling around, and like they're not perfect with the choreography. They're just a couple of guys fighting for their life, essentially.
Exactly. They're desperate.
And when he is hanging off the roof, that has a very Vertigo feel.
Very.
But yeah, the scream as he vanishes is great, and we find out that he is hanging around. What did he say? Hanging around the embassy.
He is.
Something like that.
Goes to see Reggie, basically like, hey, almost died. How you doing?
And then she swoons. She trusts him again, and she tends to his wounds.
It was like, it has like some like supplies and stuff. It's like, oh, you're the kind of girl who would have something like that.
I was thinking of Deb and Donen play. Get back!
Very, very.
But you know what else is back? The banter. It is so good. He's like, I only came in for an estimate. She's like, you won't be able to lie on your back for a few days, but you can lie in any position, can't you?
Good. Audrey Hepburn on fire.
Bam.
On
well,
fire.
Bam.
But they start to get close. The old Alexander is his name.
Alexander Dahl. And is there a Mrs. Dahl?
No, we're divorced. Yes, but we're divorced. Yes, we're
Look at
divorced.
that one line. We've done it so many times. We rehearsed it over and over again.
You know us, we do rehearse things.
As he's telling like the parable, because she's still a little skepty, and he tells like the truthful Whitefoot parable thing, and it's just the guards from the labyrinth. the riddle about who's telling the truth and who's lying.
Oh, yeah, true.
Guarding the door. But without a door, there's actually no way to solve that riddle. So, which is exactly what he's trying to say. He's like, look, you can't trust me,
He's going to
but
keep going in circles.
you're just going to have to if you want
the movie to
if you want
continue.
this to happen.
Exactly.
Just banter to keep going.
And but it's broken up though, because
They're cool.
our trio of villainous characters have taken Jean-Louis.
Yeah. Oh, did he just turn up looking for his aunt?
Yeah, and he's like, hey, you got a hook? It's pretty cool.
He looks like he's having a pretty good time. He's just
He's
sitting
just
in
chilling.
the
He's like,
background.
hey, guys, like,
In
what are we
his-
doing?
In his shorty shorts.
Yeah, it's just like, what's the caper?
Yeah.
I'm Jean-Louis. What's the caper?
What's the caper? That's how he'd say it.
That's it. That's him ordering a pizza. Does it have capers?
Cary Grant then says, look, I don't think she's got it. I've been hanging around with her. What if one of yous guys has it? And
There's a
suggests
cash in
that,
Herman's suitcase.
yeah, suggests that perhaps they tracked Charles down, threw him off the train, got the money, and they have to kind of stick around to keep up appearances so that the others don't know that they have the money. So they all agree to divide and conquer. They're going to split up, search each other's rooms, and that's when Jean-Louis makes the call that they've found it a little too early. I found it!
If you think you're getting credit for this, you're crazy.
But it's just Herman Spare. Oh, Herman Spare. James Coburn is doing some
doing
fun
what?
stuff with his voice. That is not James Coburn's normal voice, but the accent that he's putting on.
It's
Oh,
good.
you nincompoop.
He's Tex.
He's Tex. He's Tex.
He's Tex. But then we find Herman and he's dead.
He's dead. He's not going to be needing that spare where he's going.
He's just sleeping
straight
in a
to
bar.
hell.
Leopold's like basically working out. It's like, let's put him back in his bed. He doesn't look too bad.
Yeah.
and which they do.
And then they cut to the
who finds
inspector.
him? No, but who finds the body?
Oh, the maid, the housekeeper.
What's another word for maid? Cleaning woman.
Oh my God! So many references.
Yeah, but we cut back to the police
cut.
station.
Oh, a man drowned in his bed. Preposterous. And another one in his pajamas.
And then the sneeze from Leopold. Oh, my goodness.
goodness.
What a sneeze.
Sounds like Kazooie from Banjo-Kazooie.
It just sounds like you playing a kazooie. I love the exchange by the water between Alexander and Reggie.
Mm-hmm.
The banter is there on fire. Put that there. It's just great. It's just really good.
I like that they're having this conversation and she just goes off on all these tangents. Like she's talking about, like, is it Fred Astaire dancing by the river, the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and then that's when it pans up for the who put that there. It's just so silly.
Like the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Huh? Oh, who put that there?
I mean, if you're going to film around France, you're going to want to get Notre Dame
Get
in
the
the
best.
background.
Get the
Yeah.
best. Hunchback and all.
But it's just a really nice shot. They're kind of doing a little bit of detective work. Who could have done it? They assume it's either Gideon or Tex.
One has to be.
But it couldn't be Tex because he's all,
Tex
who
and-
would have done a mean thing
Why,
like that? He's a
and
Southern Belle.
get more of the, I'd like to be with you. And he's like, well, no, I'm going to shower in my suit.
Yes. And he's like, oh, what do you want now? And he's like, it's the house police. Why don't you have a woman in there?
God, you're a pest.
So
Fair.
good.
Shut
So
the
good.
door.
And she's all upset at him for all the lying, but then she does a Boy Who Cried Wolf and screams to get him trapped in the room.
This is a ludicrous situation. I can think of a dozen men who are just longing to use my shower.
Why don't you call one of them?
What I don't understand is she tries to get him to come into the room so that he can shower in there, and then she wants him to shut the door.
Shut the door.
Does she
keeps
want it
saying.
or not?
So confusing.
So confusing.
Make up your mind, characters of
But
this film.
This is pretty fun. The drip dry where he's washed himself in the suit,
This
puts on
part-
the glasses.
Yep, and then he's like, oh, it's this proof and nut proof as well.
Yeah.
You're a nut.
And she closes the door and gets another phone call. And once again, the illusion is shattered because Carson Dial had no brother.
Because told by a squatting Walter Matthau.
Oh, yeah. They're cutbacks to him every
This is
time.
great.
Really good. So fearing for her life, she decides that their date night is going to be on a big old cruise.
With a few more eyes on them.
Yes, in front of a rear projection. Look, it looks a little janky, but
A couple of stages.
what I will say for this scene that is great attention to detail.
Audio?
Yes,
So
whenever
good.
they go under the bridges,
So
they've
good.
got like echoey audio.
That's great.
It's really, really nice.
All right, get set for the story of my life.
Fiction or non-fiction?
Why don't you shut up?
Well,
Obviously, in these older films, you're going to have some sets like this and the rear projection and the matte paintings that might not always look great.
But this is pretty good.
It's nice. And you don't need it to because of the type of film it is as well. It's like, we get the idea.
We do get the idea. And we do get the idea that Cary Grant has more than one name and is playing more than one character. And we
Yes.
get another one. Adam Canfield.
She confronts him and finds out that he is just a thief, Adam Canfield. I like this one too because he's been coming up with all these excuses of like, oh, well, no, I'm doing this really honorable thing for my brother.
This is the connection.
At this point, he's lied so many times. Really, the only way it's going to be believable is if he's like, okay, well, the reason I lied is I'm actually a crook.
Yeah, I'm a bad guy.
Yeah, so to be like, I'm a bad guy, but I'm not trying to kill you. And
And that's enough for her to...
all it takes is him being like, oh, well, didn't you think it was tricky for me not to bed you? And she's like, oh.
Swoon, smooch.
Swoon. Is this the first personality she says she loves?
I think so.
Adam Canfield?
I believe
She
so.
falls, and she falls hard.
I'll tell you who else is falling hard. Leopold in the elevator.
No. I'll tell you what else is happening.
What?
When they're on the cruise, I forgot that the guy with the spotlight on the cruise just does a bit of a Tommy Purvis and just starts shining it on all the people on the bank. What's that scene for? Is that a part of the cruise? They're like, now this is Lover's Lane. So we all come here, everybody to
Look,
the edge. This is
look.
the famous part where we shine the spotlight on people making out by the river. It's wild. It's wild. But sorry, yes, Gideon gets a call for someone
Gideon, I
to
want
meet
to say
him.
Leopold. Gideon?
Gideon's
Leopold?
his surname.
Yes.
Leopold's his first name.
Oh, okay. So bloody Leopold,
Mm-hmm.
Leopold Gideon is, well, he's the next to go, Mr. Brand. He's
He
the
is?
next to go.
Sneezes himself to death.
I know. Yeah, he sneezes so hard he crashes against the door of the elevator.
This was always one of like the scariest parts for me as a kid. 'Cause, like, obviously, the reason I love this so much is I grew up watching this film as well. It was like one of the first true mysteries that I watched, and this part was always pretty freaky. Like him disappearing down past, like the elevator goes past the lobby down to the basement, and you hear him sneezing at first, but then the sneezes turn into screams, and as he comes back up, he's been stabbed to death.
In his pajamas.
Yeah, the third one in the pajamas.
In the pajamas.
If I were you, I'd get out of those pajamas.
Yes.
A good warning from the inspector there.
Always.
And I love too, he asks what they were doing, and Audrey Hepburn says that she was in her own room, and he's like, well, it must be true, for why would you make up such a ridiculous story?
They start to have a look again, Adam and Reggie, having a look at the bag to see potentially what could be worth the cash. All of these things that we've got here, and there's nothing more that we can do. And yeah, this
Do
is
you
when
think you'd be able to identify heroin from the taste? Heroin. Spearmint flavored heroin.
But we get to Reggie's doing her job basically as a translator.
Yes, it came to Cary Grant in the morning. He found the note that was included, the receipt.
What's
from
missing?
What was in the bag, and the agenda book,
You know, the,
little,
like, sort of like
appointment
appointment
book,
book.
is missing. And so he's like, she's trying to do her job, but he's like, think! What was in there? Think! He's hounding her.
But then also as well, she's trying to do her job, and then he's just giving her a couple of little neck smooches.
Yeah, he's like, I don't have to pretend I'm a good guy anymore. You know I'm a crook.
I'm a crook. I'm
gonna
a
kiss
sleazy
you while
Cary
you're at
Grant.
work, and I'm going to demand you tell me what was in that appointment book.
And eventually they work it out. That's like a meeting at the park.
The park, yeah, like near the Champs-Élysées.
Yes,
Yeah.
Parc des Champs-Élysées.
D'Elysée.
Élysées.
My French is a little bit rusty.
Yes. I love the line where Reggie's like, "You're not kidding. 10 minutes ago, I had a job." It's great.
There's so many good lines. Like
zippy dialogue.
I wrote a bunch of them down. Oh, I tell you which one I do really enjoy. When they are looking through the bag, and he goes to put his glasses on. She's like, "Oh, you don't need these. You need them." Just the seriousness of it.
Oh my
afterwards.
God, you're
How
so
blind
blind.
is he?
Then they see that the cops are out and about, but they also spot Tex.
They do.
So he's near the carousel.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a market set up there as well. The carousel. I love this whole sequence. The tension here, the merry-go-round music or the carousel music, but also the tracking shots so that you're seeing what, who is he at this stage?
Canfield. Adam
Canfield. You see what Adam is seeing. He's like point of view, looking around suspiciously, trying to track down why was he here, for what purpose a week ago was he meeting here. And then he starts to trail Tex, and Tex walks into the middle of the market, and then we get bwah, 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 bwah.
What are we looking at? Stamps.
Lots
Lots
everywhere,
of
but
stamps.
not a stamp to drink.
Stamps. Instead of bwah, stamps.
I don't mean to undercut this because I actually
It's good.
love this scene. It gets my stamp of approval, if you will. But
Stamp.
what I will say, it's pretty funny when it happens for a second time.
That's
Cary Grant walking in there.
Stamps.
More stamps. But I love this moment, and I just like the realization of it
Like
as an audience member as well.
Texas Run.
Yes.
It's so good.
No, it's the toothpick down, run off. So both of them, Adam and Tex, head back to Reggie's room, making the connection that the stamps will be worth something on the envelope. But when they get back there, it's all cut out. And
Who's got the stamps?
well, Reggie has them, well, assumably, and he's basically saying that they were fools, and he's really baiting Adam too, which I love, because the scene kind of ends with him being like, you greenhorn, you nincompoop, you block-headed jackass.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's cutting from James Coburn.
It is, and we get like this lingering shot on Cary Grant just being like really pissed off as it cuts away, which sets up so well when Reggie gets back there and finds Tex dead.
Exactly.
But before that, we cut back to the park, and Reggie, he's just left Reggie there. She's just chilling. And she runs into Sylvie, and basically Jean-Louis is there because he comes there every week to look at the stamp market.
Of course he does.
And that's when she makes the realization that it must be the stamps as well. Stamps!
Jean-Louis got the stamps. But he's already sold them to a dealer.
He has.
But they track
Look
down
at
the
how
dealer.
many I got for just 3.
And then track down the dealer to
What a
essentially get
sweet
back.
old man the dealer is.
He's
though.
like, okay.
He's like, I thought you'd be here. You can have them back. But if you didn't come, I would have been very happy.
And very rich.
Yeah, but no, to hold on to them for but a moment is enough for me. Something like that. The French accent really smooths it over,
You've
I
done a
think.
good job paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing. That was, I like that. Paraphrasing.
Paraphrasing.
Really good. Really good from you. So basically estimates that between the 3 of them, they would add up to the $250,000.
Yep.
So Reggie heads back to her hotel room and
does she say?
finds a dead Tex.
The plastic X-Tex marks the spot. Plastic bag over his
Deus
head.
Tex Machina.
Good.
Asphyxiated.
And unless he sleeps in a suit, those are not his pajamas. But he has etched into the carpet, dial.
And it's real creepy. Like the face here
great.
is haunting.
It's very good. And then, so who are you going to call? Not Ghostbusters, but Bartholomew.
And does so in a panic, saying basically just exposition and all over the place. Saying, must
Reggie.
be Cary Grant because that's what he knows him as. He knows him as Alexander Dial. We got to meet up right away. And so he's like, yep, cool. We'll meet at the colonnade, they call it, when there's lots of columns in a row.
Yep, and then Reggie's trying to escape, but Adam's in pursuit.
He is.
And we obviously, because like he's incredibly menacing.
The music kicks back in again.
Oh, it's great. We get the theme, and we also get, and I was saying to you beforehand today, that I was saying that, but the last sequence just feels like such like an inspiration for a lot of different films.
Yes.
Feels very De Palma-esque, like when they're going into like the train stations and stuff like that. Kind of reminded me a little bit of Blowout. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the kind of vibe I'm getting sort of here.
And I think part of that too is the great sets. Like the hotel is an awesome set. The train station is an awesome set. The colonnade, as I said, that's really cool. And the theater inside as well. Yeah, really, really cool. The tension as the gates are like closing and he's spotted her on the platform. All great stuff. She manages to lose him momentarily and places another phone call.
Hiding out in a telephone box and tries to call Bartholomew.
At his office this time instead of the number he gave. She just tries to...
Key difference.
Yes, and gets onto his secretary. He's already gone home for the day, but she's like, I'll try and get a message to him. So she leaves the phone booth, but we see her trying to deliver the message, and it ain't Walter Matthau.
I was literally like quite audibly like, oh!
Okay.
It was good. I mean,
You're telling me you had your suspicions?
I definitely was there, but now it was like, bang, like really good reveal for us as an audience member, but not for Reggie, which is great.
Right.
Build that suspense, keep things from the characters, but show them to us. Suspense 101.
And I love, he even says on the phone, who does she think I am? The CIA? And then it cuts to Walter Matthau and you get that menacing tone as he's just standing in the dark there. Really good. All the cuts back and forth in these moments are great.
Fun. But basically we find out that he is Carson Dial.
Yes. As they're running along the colonnade, the cuts, the way that they use the pillars as the cuts, incredible. It looks so good. Reggie, hold it right there. That man is Carson Dial.
And he is.
And him mocking.
He tries to
yes,
deny
Mrs. Lambert, I'm a dead man.
He's not a dead man. He survived. Basically, he was
He's
shot.
a grumpy old man.
Yes, he is a grumpy old man. They left him basically Charles and our other three, who we thought really were bad guys, but they're kind of bad guys, but not as bad as this guy.
Yeah, they left me there to die, Mrs. Lambert. So he's kind of, he eventually has to give himself away because, again, she falls for Cary Grant. And she says, why should I believe you? And he's like, I can't think of a single reason why. And then she's just like, oh, swoon.
That's the one reason.
That's the reason. So she starts to walk towards Cary Grant, and that's when he has to be like, hold it right there, Mrs. Lambert.
And basically she gets him monologuing while Adam's trying to sneak up and then fire, but he's a terrible shot with the gun.
Yeah, but it's that old school like Bond ricochet kind of bullets.
Good stuff.
Apparently that location still has like scorch marks from the ricocheting bullets.
I love that. That's great. And the shootout ensues basically because Adam isn't super accurate, and the shootout ensues, and they sort of get chased into the theater.
The Palace Royale.
I love a grand like set for like a finish of a movie like this.
Scream 2, man.
Exactly, similar sort of vibe.
The way that the tension builds here is great. So
awesome.
After Carson Dial follows in, Adam's unable to get in. So he has to go like underneath the staging, and he's kind of wandering around the stage and realizes she's hiding in like the little, is it like a conductor's bay
like a little conductor's box
thingy?
sort of thing.
But it's really cool with him like slowly walking towards her. Underneath the stage, you see all these trap doors, and he's just like trying to, this is very much De Palma, trying to like work out which one is he standing on.
Keeps cutting back and forth.
Footsteps. And then even the clumsiness, I'm going to go with this one. No, I'm not going to. And then he makes his decision and has to kind of like wiggle his way through and then pulls it. And just the sound of him falling through. And what a hard hit.
Damn.
The ground. He's been through some stuff, man.
It really has walled him out. I mean,
he does deserve that money, I reckon.
Fair enough. He can have it, but he's dead. He's dead. Or at least has broken his legs completely.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's dead.
We get a little entr'acte here where Reggie wants to drop the money off at the embassy, and Adam's trying to convince her not to do so. But eventually he's like, fine, you can do it, but I can't watch this. I'm going to stay out here. And so she asked for Mr. Crookshanks, or Crookshank.
I
was thinking of the cat from Harry Potter. Can I see the cat from Harry Potter? She says.
I love Hermione's cat.
But no, Brian Crookshanks, and who should it be but Cary Grant?
Joshua.
Peter,
Joshua,
Peter, Adam. I love you, Adam, Peter, Brian, the other one. That's what she says. Carrie. All of them. All of the above. No, he does that weird kind of quirky face.
He really does. I'm like, that's a choice.
It's a strange moment, but yep, she's in love. He's not as in love. He's like, give me the stamps. I'll marry you, just give me the stamps.
Yeah, I love it. And she's like, well, hang on, a marriage certificate? And yeah, that's the end of the movie.
It is. And what'd you think?
Guys, I think I can stay in film club because I had a really good time watching Charade.
So good.
I like films, and I've talked about this on the podcast before, I like films that really deftly balance the tones and different sort of sensibilities and codes and conventions, accurate today because that's what I'm teaching my nines. Like when genres are kind of having a little bit of a mix, and I think this mixes the genres very well. I think you get good comedy throughout the film, good mystery, suspense, particularly in the sort of the end and the climax of the film, I think is really good. And I think all of those ingredients are quite well balanced. I think that Stanley Donen does a really good job balancing those things out.
Smooth.
And, he's there in the kitchen, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and I think it all tastes very nice together. I think the acting performances are fantastic, really sharp, witty dialogue, so no surprise that you like this film. There's always a bit of a through line in the stuff that you like.
100%, but also murder mysteries in general. So
you love them. You love them.
The combination of both of these things, plus a full cast of actors that I adore, like James Coburn, Walter Matthau, Cary Grant, Audrey Hepburn, Thomas, the kid who plays Jean-Louis, they're all my favourites.
All the pajamas. It's just great.
All the pajamas. I have since given you a back catalogue of James Coburn that you got to go tick off.
Yes, you do. You got to give me the Blu-rays. I got to watch the films. So I'll be doing that. Some of my homework from Mr. Brown. So, but no, I had a really good time watching Charade, and it was good to. So I'm glad you got to watch one of your favourite films in film club because as it was your birthday last week. So again, happy belated birthday. I hope that watching Charade and talking about Charade was a good little celebration for you.
It absolutely was, and I hope that some kids, especially the ones who were trying to guess what was going on, have gone and watched it. I know when we put a film on that's a little dated, it can turn a couple of people off. Just because something is a little dated doesn't mean it's not an incredible watch.
Facts.
Cool. All right, shall we move on to Tantalising Trailers?
Tantalising trailers. Don't know if we will be a fan. How will it be? We'll know in time.
So, would you like to kick things off?
Yeah, well, so I think we're going to have a bit of crossover with our trailers today, which we don't mind at all. But it's been a while since we've done Tantalising Trailers, so we've got a few, but we've sifted through some of the muck and found some stuff that really tantalised us. And I'm not sure if we're going to talk about a trailer that we didn't find super tantalising.
Oh, I've got some muck on my list.
I've got some muck. Okay, we'll sit in your muck for a little bit. That's fine. Yeah. But the first one I really like talking about is Honey Don't. It's a new film from Ethan Coen, and what a cast of characters we've got here. Aubrey Plaza, Charlie Day, Chris Evans, and Margaret Qualley. I love the look of this film. Feels like we've got a bit of a, coming off the back of Charade, a bit of a mystery kind of vibe.
Yes.
Chris Evans plays a preacher who looks like he's having the best time.
These are my favourite of his roles, the kind of...
It's silly.
Villainous roles. Like he does seem like he's a preacher on the up and up at the beginning of the trailer, and then you realise that's not the case. He's like a corrupt preacher as he goes through. And it very much reminds me of his asshole type role from Knives Out. Yeah. I, with most of these trailers, didn't watch the full trailer. I felt I was getting a bit much, so I turned this one off a little early. But it just looks like a fun time. The way they're playing off each other, again, witty dialogue. And some thrills and mystery.
Bit of laughs.
All good.
Yeah. So stack cast, very keen. Obviously coming from good pedigree, given it's Ethan Coen. Very excited. It's going to be good. Honey Don't, but I think I will.
Dangerous Animals is the one I want to talk about next. But the setup is there's like a couple who have gone out onto a boat, and it looks like they're doing like some sort of expedition thing where they're going to go down maybe in a cage.
Like a shark diving situation.
Yeah. And the wife or the partner is very nervous about it and consoling her like, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. And then the instructor basically just stab. You're dead.
Stab, you're dead. And ends up being bait for the sharks to come hither. And yeah, it's the captain in question is played by Jai Courtney.
Of course, yes.
Boomerang's really sort of struggled after Suicide Squad, and he's declined into being a boat captain.
Australian film too.
Yes, directed by Sean Byrne, who directed The Loved Ones, which we both really enjoy, and it's
one of my favourite Australian films.
A horror movie I really like recommending to people, particularly international people I know who might not have seen this film. It's really excellent. But yeah, it's kind of like it's like a shark movie crossed with a bit of a serial killer vibe. I'm intrigued. And this was a trailer I deliberately had to stop watching because I'm like, I'm getting the whole thing. Again, this is another Shudder release. They're putting out some really fantastic stuff over the last sort of 24 months. So this looks like another good film coming from good pedigree. And yeah, Jai Courtney looks like he's relishing this villainous role as well.
100%. I just like the expectations kind of being flipped on their head. Dangerous animals, you're like, yeah, it's going to be the sharks. Nah, he's the dangerous animal.
He's the most dangerous animal.
Now, after a couple of good ones, let's talk some of the muck.
All right.
Now you see me, now you three me. No, now you don't. It is the third film in the Now You See Me franchise. Everyone was wondering why they didn't call the second film in the franchise Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Instead, it was just Now You See Me 2.
So now this one should be Now You See Me, Now You Don't. Just joking, you can.
Yeah. Perfect.
That'll test so well.
Look, it's not enough to make something disappear. You have to bring it back.
Thank you, Michael. Hey.
Are you watching closely?
Anyway,
sorry. You can tell we're avoiding talking about this film because
it looks crap.
Yeah, and we're fans of the first two. More so for me, the first one.
First one's good. Second one's okay. I do like Lizzie Kaplan coming in that film.
I didn't really enjoy it.
You were missing Isla Fisher?
I don't know that I was necessarily missing Isla Fisher, but I think the Lizzie Kaplan character was quite annoying and usually someone I really like in films, but this character in particular, like they're all quite smug, especially in the second one.
Are they ever?
Yeah. So the second one does have some cool moments, but the thing I think I liked about the first one and the thing I like about quite a lot of films that feature magicians is when they almost justify the tricks. So they take something that seems impossible and then they're like, no, this is how they did it. And the reveal of that is pretty cool. But in the second one, the reveal of that becomes a little harder to digest. And I think it's going to be even worse in this one. They've got a young, cool cast going up against the others. The others seem tired and done with it. I don't know why they're bringing it back now.
And they're bringing back Isla Fisher as well.
Yeah, but I felt like this was something that after the second film, people were interested in seeing. And I think it's just been too long. I don't think anyone's keen on this anymore.
Maybe I think it's been, 6 or 7 years?
Yeah, but it feels like a lot longer than that. And just nothing about this trailer grabbed me. No Mark Ruffalo in this one.
No.
Am I going to see it? No.
Yeah, can't say I will.
Now You See Me.
Now you won't.
No. That was my line.
Sorry. We are on the same wavelength sometimes, so that's a good thing.
It's rare, but
when it happens,
a special moment. Just think of mashups last week. Woo! Anyway, what do you got next, mate?
Next one that I've got is Highest to Lowest. So just a teaser trailer, but I'm intrigued to go watch this, and I need to go watch the original because it is Spike Lee's interpretation of Akira Kurosawa's High and Low. So it's basically kind of about, it looks like Denzel's playing someone who's kind of works in the music industry, and then there's kind of like a ransom involved. But Denzel and Jeffrey Wright together and Spike Lee is enough for me to go see a film. Two of the best actors working today, and I'm a big Spike Lee enthusiast, so I'm quite keen to see how this goes, and I need to go watch Kurosawa's films. I haven't watched a Kurosawa film before, so shoot me as a media teacher, but a lot of stuff from him is on my list, High and Low probably being at the top of that, so I need to go do that. But yeah, the teaser trailer looked good. It's some incredible pedigree working in one film, so I expect this to be pretty good to very good.
Nice, very nice. Next up, weapons. You happen to talk weapons?
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. So this looks really intriguing. I feel like the first trailer, like the teaser trailer for this, it had me intrigued, but it didn't necessarily grab me. Whereas the latest one, very, very cool. So Julia Garner is a teacher, and basically in the middle of the night, her entire class, her primary school class, just got up out of bed and disappeared.
Yep.
Walked away. And now it seems like they're starting to point the finger at her. Like,
what
she's
you've
the
done with the
common
kids.
denominator,
Yep.
so they're making the assumption that it's her fault. But yeah, really intriguing, like super eerie. The cinematography in the trailer had me like engrossed. It's a very similar vibe to me to another one we're going to be talking about today as well. But yeah, it had me very keen.
Yeah, so obviously this is a new film from Zach Kreger, who did Barbarian, which is one of my favourite horror movies in the last 5 years, comfortably.
Mine too.
It's just a brilliant concept, and again, really fantastic cinematography in that film as well. I think Zach's a really smart director who's got some really good ideas, so I'm really keen to see how this goes. Also as well, now that like his name's out there a little bit more, you got some big names attached to this project. Not saying that obviously Peter Skarsgård wasn't, and obviously we had Justin Long in Barbarian as well, but now the fact that you've got Julia Garner, Alden Ehrenreich, Alex Skarsgård, Peter Skarsgård.
Not
Which
Peter
Skarsgård?
or Alex.
Which
the other one.
Bill? Bill, thank you. It's too many Skarsgårds. So little time.
Pennywise, that one.
That one. The guy who plays Pennywise. And then Josh Brolin's in this as well. And one of the things that really sort of grabbed me about this film is that obviously, actors are going to promote their films, their upcoming projects they're going to be excited about. Josh Brolin spoke glowingly about, like, I think his Instagram post is like, sometimes, and I'm paraphrasing here, is like, sometimes you kind of just attach to projects that you know are going to be awesome. This is one I can't wait for people to see this. So I'm like, Josh Brolin in a horror movie as well. I'm like, this is cool.
He's got a bit of a reputation for championing the films that he works on too. Like, he's a good one that you want to be promoting your films.
1,000,000%. So
we're in the maths room today, man.
1,000,000%?
100%.
Yeah. I only do things at 1,000,000%. But no, very, 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 very excited for this film. Yeah.
Cool. Do you want to talk the other similarly styled one? Doing a bit of Bring Her Back?
Yeah, let's bring it back to Bring Her Back. And another horror movie that is probably in my handful of films I'm anticipating the most to watch this year.
From the directors of Talk to Me.
Yes, the Filippo brothers.
Yes. We mentioned, I think, a little bit about this after the first teaser was released, but we've got a full-blown trailer now, and I'm geared up.
Yeah, test screenings are coming out already, and people are saying this is like a genuinely terrifying film. And I can say, as someone who is a horror fan, Talk to Me is probably one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. I found unsettling, and I loved it.
They did have that nice balance of like genuine scares and eerie, uncomfortable vibes as well.
Lets you sit in the darkness a little bit, and is happy to keep you there and to keep you uncomfortable, which I think is what a good horror movie should do. But yeah, basically, like, we've got sort of a brother and sister who go into a new foster family, and there's maybe some like rituals going on. You got Sally Hawkins. It's creepy as hell, and it looks great, and I can't wait.
Yeah, and we've also spoken about our appreciation for Sally Hawkins on the pod as well. So the fact that she's attached, big selling point for us.
Yes. Couldn't do Paddington, basically, to go do this.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit of a clash. I think she was always going to step away from Paddington, but she's like, nah, I'm doing a horror movie with these crazy Australian guys who used to have a YouTube channel about like Ronald McDonald going on rampages. It's just a funny thing to say. If you haven't watched any Raka Raka Bros original stuff, just go watch that stuff and then understand.
Maybe if you're old enough. No year sevens go watch Raka Raka.
Maybe go watch it. No, there's some good stuff. You have like the Jedi versus like wizards and stuff from Harry Potter.
True.
That's good
very
fun.
true.
I think that's a little bit less brutal than Ronald going on his rampages.
Ronald Weasley.
Yeah, he doesn't go on rampages. Ronnie Mac. But yeah, I'm super keen for Bring It Back. Cannot wait.
Nice. Let's talk about is called Sirens. Millie Alcock, new Supergirl, and Julianne Moore. And essentially her sister comes looking for her. Her sister is played by someone quite well known too, but it has escaped me. It's a long time since I've done Tantalising Trailers, so I've had this one logged away for a while, but it looks really good. It's got almost like a Stepford Wives kind of vibe. The sister comes to talk to her sister, and she's in this almost cult where everyone is prim and proper and wearing pastel colours, and it feels really cool, and she's almost like trying to break her out of whatever the hell's going on there. But it also has a vibe of her like going a little off the rails, and maybe this is just a nice society. Obviously not, but could be a metaphor for something more. It just had enough elements that I was like, yeah, I'm intrigued. I've always really liked the idea of the Stepford wives, kind of the people who are acting perfect are actually the bad guys, and the ones that are a little off the rails are the good guys trying to snap them out of it. So yeah, it piqued my interest, and I like the idea of it being called Sirens, with like the mythical creature sirens being like calling them in, and then they're like trapped
bringing them to the doom.
Yeah, exactly right. So yeah, this looks cool. Check out the trailer for that.
Shall. Last one for me, and I'm sitting in my sweet spot of a fair amount of horror stuff, is Megan 2.0, and I really enjoyed Megan. The first one, had a good time with it.
The first one was Mithrigan. This one needs to
Mithrigan 2.
Mithrigan 2. Maturgan.
We're
going backwards.
Maturgan. And it feels like more of an action film, based on the trailer I watched.
Is this a Terminator 2 scenario where the villain of the first film is now the hero of the second film? Okay, cool.
That's the vibe. So like Megan's consciousness is like in like almost like like an Alexa device that can't really do anything, but still there. But basically there's been, whether it's a prototype of Megan or someone else has built something, but it's like a more advanced version of Megan. So it's literally like the T-1000. And then they was like, well, you got to sort of upgrade me, and they make her nice and tall and everything like that, and give her a new body to go into, and she's going to basically fight against. Yeah,
wait, she's full size now?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yep. So
I haven't seen this trailer clearly, but I thought this first film was a little too silly for me. It didn't land the balance between the
gotta watch the unrated
horror and that I do. I definitely do, because the version that I watched was very censored. It felt like a kid's film.
Well, that's the thing, and it kind of like, and I mean, I've spoken about this before. I really like sort of entry-level horror movies, which I feel like Megan is, and it's creepy enough. But the unrated version is a bit better. So I will say that. But no, you still get Violet McGraw, who plays Katie. The young girl's back in it. Alison Williams is back in the pilot seat. She's great. Love Alison Williams.
She's so good. She's a veteran of horror.
Really is. Yeah. And so no, I'm keen for this, and particularly the tonal shift. It doesn't feel like we're just going and doing the same film again. So I'm intrigued a little bit more to see how this plays out. So yeah, that's the last on my list of Tantalising Trailers.
Mine too. As I said, guys, we are just doing the one segment today. We felt like because it had been a while since we'd done trailers, we'd do a bit of an extended trailers. But if you do have any suggestions for future segments that you'd like us to do, or films that you'd like us to tackle on the pod, please do comment below with that. Make sure you are sharing this around, liking, subscribing. Check out last week's pod, A New Hope. That was one that we both held very dear to our heart. Got all dressed up for it. So
all gussied up.
All gussied up. But thank you for the continued support, guys. And on that note, it's goodbye, Alexander Dial, and welcome back, Peter Joshua. Thanks, guys, and catch you at the next film club.
My name's Mr. Crookshank.